Alright, good morning, Boker Tov. Yeah, that made a lot of sense, since Boker Tov means good morning. So I just said good morning, good morning. I guess that works. Alright, so yeah. I'm have to get me one of those little mini lanterns or something set in here so not so dark. But anyways, good morning, Daniel, Alicia. Good morning, Rovlin. Congratulations on your new job, Rovlin. That's awesome, brother. All right, so we're gonna jump right in it. Good morning, Shane. Good morning. Good morning, Guru. I hope I said that name right. All right, so we are on day 83, Psalm 83. I'm going to jump right into it because I've got a couple things to say about this chapter. So, alright, do not keep silent, O Elohim. Do not hold your peace, and do not be still, O El. For behold, your enemies make a tumult, and those who hate you lift up their head. They have taken crafty counsel against your people, and consulted together against your sheltered ones. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be remembered no more. For they have consulted together with one consent. They form a confederacy against you. The tents of Edom and the Ishmaelites, Moab and the Hagrites, Gabal, Ammon, Amalek, Philistia with the inhabitants of Tyre. And anybody who doesn't know, Philistia is what we know today as Gaza Strip. Used to be Philistia, which is the Philistines. Assyria also has joined with them. They have helped the children of Lot. And the children of Lot are the daughters, and being the Ammonites and the Moabites. Deal with them as with Midian, as with Sisera, as with Yabin and the brook Kishon, who perished at Endor, who became a refuse on the earth. Make their nobles like Oreb and like Zaeb. Yes, all their princes like Zebah and Zalmunna, who said, let us take for ourselves the pastures of Elohim for a possession. O my El, make them like the whirling dust, like the chaff before the wind, as the fire burns the woods, and as the flame sets the mountains on fire. So pursue them with your tempest, and frighten them with your storm. Fill their faces with shame, that they may seek your name, O Yehovah. Let them be confounded and dismayed forever. Yes, let them be put to shame and perish, that they may know that you, whose name alone is Yehovah, are the Most High over all the earth. Alright, so what I want to share on this is that, good morning, Michael. Good morning, Julie. Good morning, you guys. Is that Psalm 83 is believed to be a war that is yet to come. A lot of end time prophecy pastors and people who've studied end time prophecy for a lot of years, stuff like that, like myself. A lot believe that Psalm 83 is a war that hasn't happened yet. And now I'm just going to put my 2 cents worth in on this. You know, time will tell. But it's believed that the Psalm 83 war will be a part of end times. And if it is a war yet to come, my personal opinion, and I stress that, my personal opinion, is that Psalm 83 war will be the war that will usher in the rebuilding of the third temple millennial temple, the temple that Yeshua will rule and reign from, which is the Ezekiel temple. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the third temple, the temple here that will be rebuilt on the Temple Mount for the short time that it will exist, because it'll be the temple that the Antichrist rules and reigns from during the time of tribulation. But that's a whole nother story. My whole point to this is that Psalm 83 is believed to be a war that is yet to come, and I believe that this will be the war that ushers in that Israel is gonna, Yah is gonna hand these people over to Israel like he has since 1948, since Israel has been a nation again. When you go and you look at all the wars that Israel's had in the last 70 years and how they have miraculously won every one of their wars, being outnumbered 5 and 6 countries to 1 and everything, and you know, and the way that they have defeated their enemies that is completely illogical to us, but yet is you know, it's obvious the hand of Yah has given them their enemies. And so in this situation, I believe it's going to be a war that Israel is going to whoop everybody so bad that it's going to make everybody go home and sit still for a while, kind of thing. And in so doing, it's going to give Israel the attitude, because even though Israel, with Netanyahu standing strong saying we will not give up land for peace, Israel does cater to the demands of the world a lot, to the Catholic Church, to the UN, and you know, unless it's just like I said, unless it has to do with trying to give up land for peace or trying to stop Israel from building in the West Bank and stuff that's a part of their land. You know, and then of course Netanyahu's like, this is our country, we will build wherever we want to. But I think that what's going to happen here is that this war will usher in the time of false peace. It will bring in a fulfillment of Daniel 9:27. It'll bring in that Israel will, when they win this, they're going to finally tell the world, we're done allowing you to tell us what we can and can't do. Now we're going to build our temple back up on the Temple Mount, and they're going to do it. And they'll have it for a little while, and you know, and they'll start the sacrifice and offerings again and stuff, thinking that they honor Yah. Of course, it will not be blessed by Yah, because Yeshua is not the high priest of it, you know, because they don't acknowledge it. But it's going to usher in, the purpose behind it will be that when Antichrist comes on the scene and the 3.5-year tribulation starts, 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verses 1 through 8, it talks about, from verse 3 on, it says, as though this day had come, for first comes the falling away, and the son of perdition must be revealed, and he will seat himself on the throne of God, in the temple of God, to declare himself to be God. And so that right there, plus Revelation 11, verses 1 and 2, talks about the temple and the altar, and the angel telling him to go out with the measuring reed and to go out and measure it, but to leave the outer court to the Gentiles, for the time of the Gentiles is not complete, so on and so forth. So there's multiple reasons, and I've taught on this before, but since we're in Psalm 83, I believe, and this is, again, I stress to you, this is my opinion. I do not declare this to be a biblical fact. that this Psalm 83 war, and that's exactly what it is, that's what's described there, this conspiracy against Israel, I believe that this war is going to be the war that ushers in the rebuilding of the temple. I think that's going to be the catalyst that will bring in, that will make Israel say, enough's enough, we're going to build our temple now. Because as far as I have found out, for years, Israel's had everything that they've needed to rebuild the temple except for the pure red heifer. And as last that I've heard, they now have that. And they've been working on that for years and years. And each time they thought they have one, because they wait a few months and to see if any blemishes, and there always ends up being some kind of off-color spot they find on the heifer. So apparently, from what I've heard, they have one now, and so that makes me even more inclined to think that we're even closer. But the pure red heifer, for those who don't know, is needed according to Torah to consecrate the temple and the altar. And so so Israel now has everything. They have all the garments, they have all the showbread table, the altar, the menorah table, the altar of incense, all these things. They've got everything ready to go. They have the cornerstone for the temple. They've got it all. And if what I've heard is true about the red heifer, then they're ready to go, and there's nothing to stop them. And as far as once they get the temple rebuilt, which they could do, I'm sure, within a year, because they would probably put people on it 24/7, working around the clock to get it done. I'll tell you something, Mishpachah. If Psalm 83 is what I think it is, and what a lot of prophecy preachers think it is, then when we see that happen, and we see them break ground to build a temple, Mishpachah, that means we're not at the threshold, we're inside the door, and we are probably within 10 years away of Messiah's return. Because I don't imagine that that Israel will be able to just enjoy the temple or do their thing for years and years. I can only imagine they may get, maybe a few years to maybe a handful of years before Antichrist comes on the scene and takes it over. Because when that happens, man, things are really going to start speeding up. So anyways, it's exciting, and what we need to keep an eye on and watch for, amen. So go and read it, study it, and of course, I guess we'll see what happens. But I hope you all have an awesome and blessed day, and I hope you just be filled with the joy of the word of Yah and the excitement of his return. Amen. And I love y'all, but most importantly, Yah loves you. Shalom, shalom.